All right, guys, welcome back to some more reviews and welcome back to another wrestling review. And I'm joined once again by Colton.
What
What's up,
up?
Colton? How's it going? How's it going?
Pretty
And
good.
we're going to be talking about NXT Heatwave. Kind of a rare thing. We don't really review NXT that often. We've done like a handful of reviews on NXT. It's just kind of hard to watch all the NXT shows and all the WWE shows. Sometimes I get behind, so I'm not able to watch all of it. But it took me a minute, but I was finally able to watch Heatwave last
You're
night.
always kind.
I tried, man. I'm always playing catch up with wrestling, it seems. But to talk about Heatwave, of course, this happened right after Money in the Bank. Same arena. I think it was the night after, if I'm not mistaken, or was it the
Yeah,
night before?
it was Sunday.
Yeah, so they had the same arena, pretty big venue for NXT. And we got Mystic Mac here. Never really watch NXT officially or anything, only certain matches. Right now is a good time to get into it, Mac, because they have a whole new roster. So it's starting to, there's a whole lot of new storylines and new characters. It's a good refresh time for NXT. So to get into it now would probably be your best bet because yeah, it was hard for me to get into NXT because I felt like the outsider. Because back when I tried to get into NXT, it was huge and everybody was into it, and everybody knew who Shinsuke Nakamura and Finn Balor and all these other people were, and I was like, I don't know, I didn't know what was going on, so I felt sort of out of the loop. But to get into it now, like I did, it really helped me because I'm able to. Okay, these are all new characters and new storylines. Cool, I know what's going on here. But NXT Heatwave, man, I think it's not too far fetched to say that it was way better than Money in the Bank.
Oh, it was 100 times better than Money in the Bank.
Yeah, yeah, I really loved this show. Of course, we're gonna get into it in more details in a minute. But what did you think about the show, man? Did it surprise you?
I wouldn't say it surprised me because it is NXT,
Yeah,
and NXT will do NXT things. So I think NXT did amazing and did what it was supposed to do.
hmm
I feel like with everything that went on, I feel like it was a follow up. I think they seen Money in the Bank. They were like, "Oh, Money in the Bank didn't do so hot. Let's show them how to do a pay per view right," and they did.
yeah. We didn't see no Braun Steiner on Heatwave. Luckily, now we got to suffer through him on the main roster. And I agree with you, man. Like I didn't expect anything terrible from NXT. I actually love when they do the whole let's do the same venue as the pay per view before, and hey, go out there and try to one up what WWE did. Like this is NXT. Let's try to one up what the main roster guys did. And I always love that because NXT's talent is so young and is wanting to prove everything. They usually step it up. And if they don't sometimes like if they don't have the better storylines, they at least have the better matches than the previous night.
Yeah, they'll have really good matches.
I remember plenty of times where NXT came in and did their own pay-per-views after a major one WWE did, and if I was able to catch it, I was blown away by it. Like NXT's wrestling was always on another level, and I feel like with this pay-per-view, it was really important for them to pick up the pieces that happened with Money in the Bank. And I feel like they did a really great job at doing that. I think we have a really awesome card here, some good build heading into this pay per view. And it's generally an exciting pay per view. And I'm not saying Money in the Bank wasn't, but I feel like with this, you have so many new and fresh storylines versus Money in the Bank is a lot of carrying over storylines and continuing storylines and continuing the story as they say. But
Finish your story.
yeah, finish the story. It's always finishing the story. It's never ever. It's never ending story. But I guess there's a pre-show match here. I didn't know this happened, so I missed this. I don't know if you've seen the pre-show or not, so you can
There-
probably give your comments
Oh,
on this.
it was the tag team match with the chicks, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a tag team match between Carmen Petrovic, Ariana Grace, and then they versed JC Jane and Jasmine Nix. I didn't see that match though. I didn't even know that happened. Did you see this one?
I did. I thought it was pretty good for not knowing a lot of the chicks. And I was like, okay. They did what they were supposed to do. They did good. Um, there was like a little bit of a botch, a couple like botches, but it wasn't like super like, oh my gosh, they botch, they botch, they botch. It was like nerves because you could tell a couple, two of them were nervous, and one just came back from injury.
Yeah, I know they've been using them a lot on NXT, and I like all four women. I think they've all got a lot of potential, a lot of talent, and there's not a bad wrestler there. I think there's definitely room for growth, but yeah, I think it would be a solid match. I just didn't see it because it's pre-show and I watched it late, so I didn't really see the point in watching a pre-show if I'm already watching it late. But uh, yeah, I mean that's a pretty cool thing they did that. I don't know it. Honestly, I'm surprised they give NXT a pre-show because it's a more smaller show, so I'm surprised they even do that. But hey, that's cool they do that. And they try to treat it now, and maybe they always have, I just never noticed it. But they really do try to hype up these storylines. They give them a lot of vignettes, they give them a lot of promos, they give them a lot of build. And they did a great job with this because it's hard when you have so many big stuff happening that to build everything up. There's a lot of multi-man matches in there you got to build up. It's a lot to do.
Mm-hmm. I agree,
So,
and they have been using them a lot on NXT, which I
yeah,
noticed.
I really dig it, man. I think they should continue to use that stuff. 'Cause that's some old school wrestling tricks right there, and that stuff works. Like we all remember the classic vignettes and promos. Like it really helps you get to know the characters better. Um, but to get into our first match on the card, we got Oba Femi versus Wes Lee for the NXT North American Championship, which
Oh,
I thought
my
was a really, really good match.
Obafemi be on the main roster already.
Yeah, he'll have his day soon. Definitely will have his day soon, for sure.
Like, oh my goodness, Obafemi is amazing. Wesley's amazing too. I love Wesley, but Obafemi. Did you see the
Absolutely.
spot I was telling you about?
I mean, there's so many crazy spots in that match.
I'll just say helicopter.
Yeah, I mean, of course, that's a big highlight. That's a standout moment in the match, for sure.
Oh my! He just freaking said, "I'm gonna helicopter." I pictured you doing that to Tyler.
That'd be a fun move to try.
Be like, "All right, go flying."
Yeah, but
And the match, I will say, was a very, very good paced match. A lot of offense from Obafemi, and then Wesley coming back, and then getting stomped by the heel, and then coming back, which is one of the best, in my opinion, best things you can do in a wrestling match is make that baby face look good, even in defeat and even in
yeah,
he's getting his rear end kicked, because there'd be times where like he was getting the crap out of him, but then he'd come back and maybe he can do something, maybe he can do this, and then Obafemi would just go pop, like swagging like a fly, and it was just like, ooh, maybe not.
yeah. I loved how both men didn't have an ego with it, and they didn't try to do and I'm gonna try not to compare this to AEW too much, but what I can't stand about AEW is they'll have the big guy versus the little guy, and they'll have the big guy take as much damage or try to have basically a little guy match between a big guy and a little guy. And they'll have like where the little guy, and I'm not saying like the little dudes can't do damage, but I think it's a lot better when you have both people know how to make each other look good. Like Obafemi gives a lot of offense to Wesley, but then when Wesley gets his comeback, he gets a lot of offense on Obafemi. And you really got a sense they both pushed each other to their limits, man. Like they both equally were doing a lot in that match. And I fucking loved it, man. I fucking loved it. I thought it was great. I thought it was a good way to open the match. We have a powerhouse versus a high flyer. I love combining styles in wrestling matches. I think we need to do that more in wrestling. I think Obafemi is a great talent for a big guy. He's very athletic. He's strong. He's fast. He's agile. He's got that powerhouse style to him, but he can do some crazy stuff that you don't expect. Wesley, of course, is I think one of the best high flyers in the game right now, and thought it was a great way to open your show, genius way to start it, and I love the mixture of the styles in this match. And I thought the match told a pretty good story, and I like how Wesley afterwards didn't make up any excuses as to why he lost or anything. He was just like, Obafemi was the better man. So it's not setting up anything for the future, but I'm glad they didn't do that because I feel like too many storylines do that where a person will lose and they're like, "Well, I only lost because I lost my breath because I did this and that, or I lost because I slipped on the apron or something." Like I like how Wesley was as a baby face, even though Obafemi is a heel, he gives him respect. I thought that was a pretty cool touch they did there. But
I like that.
yeah, great match. Out of 5, I'd give it like a 4.5. Man, it was really freaking good.
I definitely agree with that. I'd give it a I'll give it a 4.9.
Yeah, as high as a 5 as I can give it. I think what the only thing that I would probably tweak is like the storyline, but the storyline was pretty damn good too. So there's not really much I can critique from the match. It's just, it's a mid card match. It's a pretty decently built mid card match as far as the story goes, but as far as the wrestling goes, it was on another level. It was fantastic, and it was a great way to open the show because you had to find some sort of way to do that. You got to find something to kick off the show with a lot to show to the audience. And you could tell at first these people were kind of like quiet to the NXT guys. They didn't really know what to say, but they hooked them in. And I'm like, job well done. That's how you do it. You go out there and you hook the audience and you don't let them get off that hook,
Yeah, you gotta throw it out there and get them hooked in. For someone who really hasn't watched a lot of NXT, just watching the shows and getting used to everything, it was freaking good.
Yeah.
That match was really good. I was like, okay, I like it. Like it a lot.
Yeah.
It was a good,
Definitely a very great way to start the show.
good little opener, and just good with everything.
And of course, after that, we have the NXT Women's North American Championship match. Kalani Jordan versus Sol Ruka. And with Kalani Jordan, I think I realized what kind of wrestler she is. Because at first I really didn't get why they gave the belt to her and why, like, she doesn't really have much of a personality to me. She's totally that wrestler where you put them in the ring, that's their character. Like, she is an excellent wrestler. And what I love about her and Sol Ruka and her have like equal athletic talent. They have equal wrestling ability, but they have two different personalities. Like Kalani Jordan's from college and did gymnastics and very athletic in that front. Sol Ruka grew up on the beach side, and that's surfed, and that's how she got athletic, and she sort of did things her way, and the styles really meshed well in this match. This is probably it's kind of hard to pick a favorite match because there's so many good ones in this show, but this is probably my favorite match of the night was this one because
Really?
because I thought it was a solid wrestling match. I loved how they went back to you know, takedowns and headlocks and really sold well. I think another a positive I want to give to this show is that there's a lot of good selling. This match was a good way to look at it, where it's a fast-paced match at points, but then it slows down. They get to the wrestling holds and locks and stuff like that,
Mhm.
and so it was more my kind of match where it was like submissions, and then once in a while Kalani Jordan would do something crazy, and then once in a while Sol Ruka would do something crazy. And I love how at the beginning of the match, Sol Ruka had an answer for every single one of Kalani's moves, and Kalani had a reversal for every single one of Sol Ruka's moves. And it was a back and forth for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. So I really enjoyed that. That was cool. And yeah, this is probably my favorite match of the night was this one. Probably. There's a lot of good matches on here, but this one was probably my favorite.
Yeah, it was good. It was. I do agree. Like the whole high flying thing and like the okay, let's do this, let's try this, let's do that type thing. Like bringing back the old with it.
Hmm. I don't know, man. I just dug it. It was more my style. That's definitely more the wrestling based stuff is what I'm for. And I was actually watching, and I'm like, oh my god, I just seen a wrestling transition. You know how rare that is now? Because like everybody nowadays, oh, a reversal is to a kick or a punch or a knee or some kind of springboard move. Like people reverse that stuff all the time, but
Hmm.
really, it's rare that you get a wrestling transition where, oh, from a gut wrench down to an ankle lock, reverse that into an arm bar, reverse that into a neck lock. It just like that stuff, I was like, yo, that's cool. I'm glad they did that because it made their match stand out. So yeah, to me, I enjoyed it. Again, I think it was lacking in the story department. There really wasn't much of a story there, but they tried their best to do the whole. Well, they both come from very athletic backgrounds. Let's see who's the best winner here. It was a babyface
Hmm.
versus babyface, which is a really hard storyline to pull off. But for what it was a great match. Really,
Yeah,
really enjoyed it.
I did too. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I'd give it another 4.5. Man, it was up there for the second
Yeah, I
match
gave
of
it.
the night. It was great
Yeah, I gave it a 4.
because usually second match is like, okay, that's when we're gonna put somebody out there that we know is gonna calm down the audience, not because we're gonna put those people out there that maybe aren't as fast as fast paced wrestlers as the other people. But no, they were out there doing great. And it was a well-paced match. And we'll get to match
Hmm.
pacing later on too, because the NXT Women's match I thought was very well-paced as well. But and it also included a lot of wrestling, which I really enjoyed. But
I
yeah,
agree.
very good match, very very solid. You know, Kalani Jordan is really making a name for herself, and I'm warming up to her. I do want to see her get some kind of gimmick, but at the same time, I don't think she's one of those people that has a gimmick. I think she's more of like, if we were to compare her to somebody, more like an Owen Hart or more like just you know, like Bachwinkle, like people that were the solid wrestlers that didn't really have a character or a gimmick, but they were able
Hmm.
to get in there and work their butts off, and that's what you went and saw was their work. I thought she was a great worker.
I agree. 'Cause I know she's not like for everyone. I've noticed.
Yeah, she's a little her bubbly personality can be a little off-putting.
Yeah,
I love everything. I love everything and everyone. I'm like, what is wrong with this lady? um, but
I don't know everything.
to continue on, we have a very very surprising NXT tag match because I wasn't sure if this one was. I didn't doubt it too much, but I wasn't sure how. There wasn't much of a story to this one. So I was worried about the match. I felt like it was put together at last minute. This is the one match that I thought was sort of thrown together, and they tried. But man, this match, even with the flimsy story they had there, I thought it was great, and it was extremely surprising. This match, out of all the matches, this is probably the one that surprised me the most because of how good these two teams clicked. We got Axiom and Nathan Frazier versus Andre Chase and Duke Hudson, Chase U for the NXT Tag Team Championship.
This this was one of the best tag team matches I've seen in a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude, it blew me the fuck away. I was like, it'll be okay, but well, I'm waiting for the next match, or I thought it was gonna be a filler. No, it was really freaking good. I think Chase U and Axiom and Nathan Frazier, two of the best tag teams right now. I think NXT has the best tag team division. Like
Mm-hmm.
without a doubt, they got the OC, they got OTM, they got Metaphor, they got who else? What's that team called? New Quarter Catch Crew. I really like them. They're a good tag team
Yeah,
as well. So, and occasionally you'll have Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne go down there, and they'll work sometimes. But yeah, great tag team match. I think with Chase U, what I really liked leading up to this match was they are the babyface team that doesn't like to win, you know, weirdly, or I guess in a sort of dirty way, because Ridge Holland helped them win a match to get number one contendership. But Ridge Holland also interfered with the match, and they didn't like that, so they told Ridge Holland, "You're gonna have to wait out from Heatwave, and wait till we get back." Since you did that, and then I like how the storyline with Axiom and Frazier was Nathan Frazier was too worried about his matches on speed, and Axiom was worried that he wasn't focused for the match at Heatwave. So it was
yeah,
a weird thing where it was like there were storylines within the tag team, but there wasn't a rivalry between the tag teams. It was really weird.
it was more of they were trying to set up. It looked like Chase, not Chase U, but Axiom and um Nathan Fraser were gonna break up because they kept like doing this, like, oh, you're not taking it serious, or you're not doing this, and it's just like, oh, don't break them up. Do not break them up. Do not break them up. They just became a thing.
Yeah, I was hoping that too, man. I'm like, man, more time with them, please. They're a good tag team. They're entertaining. Both dudes are awesome. Don't break it up.
Mm.
I think Ridge Holland's gonna attack Chase U though eventually, because Ridge Holland still wants to cheat to win, and that people keep like. I think what will happen is Ridge Holland will join Sean Spears, and Sean Spears, that'll be the first person that he helps, and because he told Ridge Holland on an episode, he was like, "I know there's a fury and a rage behind your eyes, but you're too afraid to use your strength," and basically meaning that maybe sometime down the road, Sean Spears will unlock that potential that Ridge Holland has. Which I like that
Mhm.
stuff. That was pretty interesting. But yeah, it was a match where without the build, I mean, there wasn't much build. That's my only issue with it. That's why I dropped it down to like a 4 out of 5. But that wrestling bumped it up to a 4 because I thought the wrestling was on point. I thought it was a very great, solid, very athletic, very fast, hard hitting match. And man, Nathan Frazier's easily one of the best talents I've seen in a while.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I'm honestly gonna give it a 5.
I can't blame you there. I mean,
It,
it's a
the false
phenomenal
finish,
match.
the false finish, the high flying, um, everything about that match was just amazing. In my opinion, it was one of the best tag team matches in a while, and it was just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And you thought for a while it was like, oh, Chase U's gonna win. Chase U's really gonna win finally, and then it didn't happen. You're just like, oh crap. It's like, dang, I really kind of wanted them to win.
Yeah. Well, it's a good tag team match when you want both teams to win. You're like, I don't care who wins as long as someone here gets their hand raised.
Yeah, because like I was like, oh, this. I was like, oh, that's it. Oh no, kick out. Oh, that's it. Oh nope, another kick out. Oh, that's it. 1-2 pin breakup. I'm like, what the heck? Is it ever gonna end?
Another rare instance where we have multiple babyface versus babyface matches on a card because they don't
Yeah,
really do that often.
I was gonna say they all four of them were baby faces.
Mm-hmm.
I will say it looked like Axiom. I don't know if Axiom just got angry with the other guy from Chase U, not the big one, but the one who wears the shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he looked like he stiffed him with a couple knees. I was like, ooh, ooh,
It's probably
ooh.
some receipts.
Or that. I was like, is this man angry? Because like he kneed him, and I was like, how is he not knocked out?
Yeah. There was definitely a lot of points where you could tell stuff really connected and it was hard hitting and it was
Mhm.
it was it was a hard hitting, kind of hard to watch match where at times where I was just like, man, like it just that I love how NXT is finally NXT where it's at right now. What makes it so good now is though I love NXT from like 2016 to 2018, they didn't really have a lot of characters and a lot of storylines. It was like you want to see some really solid, great matches, go watch NXT. The matchups for the storylines. Like you go watch Samoa Joe versus Shinsuke because it's Samoa Joe versus Shinsuke. You know, I think sometimes they did good storylines. Sammy and Kevin, obviously. There's a lot of there's some decent ones there, but I like how they took a little bit of that wrestling style, that brutal, hard hitting, just really intense matches, but took from that NXT 2.0 the characters and the storylines and trying to make it more about characters, and you combine them both and you get a really good product. Because I thought 2.0 strayed away from NXT too much and tried to make it some weird 90s wrestling show. And I'm like, what are we doing here? Why is everything neon? What the heck's going on here? But
Right.
I'm glad to see NXT get back to a good spot, man. It's
Yeah.
pretty cool. And I definitely would say this was better than Battleground. Like, Battleground was good. This was great.
Mm-hmm.
Um, So yeah, another solid match here. Moving on to the next one. We have the NXT Women's Championship, Roxanne Perez versus Lola Vice. Another match that surprised me, that I thought was really, really good. I really enjoyed this match.
Yeah, I kind of thought it was okay. It was like nothing.
It
I
was
kind of
slower. It
yeah,
really slowed the pacing down.
yeah.
I noticed that.
I think maybe for me it was just not what I thought it would be, but eh.
Well, this is the first big match we've gotten with Lola Vice where she's not in like a combat pit or like facing off at NXT Underground or facing Shayna Baszler. Like a lot of her other matches were very MMA based. This
Mhm.
was her first wrestling type of match. And while I thought she did pretty good, like pretty decent, it was a really slow paced match. And you could tell that Roxanne had to really, in a way, carry it because of how new Lola Vice is to that style. There was a few points where the moves were a little slow, transitions were kind of slow. It was overall a really slower match, but that ended up being a big reason why I really liked it because I thought it was, oh, it's slower, but hey, I like that it's slower because it makes it, pacing. It paces the show out. I like how okay we get a little bit of time to breathe now. It ain't all about high flying stuff anymore. This one also went back to some more traditional wrestling stuff, holds, submissions, and pure wrestling stuff. Some strikes in there and stuff like that,
Mhm.
but really went back to wrestling. And Yeah, I thought Roxanne Perez made Lola Vice look amazing because she had to hit so many pop rocks on Lola Vice to finally get the win.
I, I don't know. I'm kind of gonna be honest. I'm not the biggest fan of Lola Vice.
Really,
I don't. It's like she's not terrible, but like she's kind of just like she's just there for me.
she's very very new, very very fresh, very green. Did you hear a promo she did before this match?
I did not.
Um, well, it's weird because I think Lola Vice as a heel is amazing. Like she did really good as a heel. Then leading up to this match, they turned her babyface like that within 2 weeks of the match.
Because
And
she was Shayna and everything.
yeah, she beat Shayna. But even towards Shayna, she was kind of a heel. So I don't really understand where the babyface thing came from, other than the fact that they didn't want to have a heel versus heel. I don't understand that. I think it would have been better if it was a heel versus heel,
I
attitude versus attitude.
I think. See, I think it was more she turned face
Because she
with
turned
Shayna
on, she
because
turned
Shayna
on
turned
Shayna.
on her. No, Shayna turned on her.
Shayna, no, Shayna got screwed by Lola because Shayna was even saying how like Lola's ungrateful and that basically Lola should fear her because she's gonna challenge her to NXT Underground.
Hmm.
It
I
is
could have sworn.
weird,
I thought it was the other way.
unless I missed that. But I because the way they did it, she was a heel towards Natalia. She was a thought she was a heel towards Shayna, unless they meant for her to be a baby face, and I just didn't get it. But
Because I could have sworn she like Shayna got fed up because she was just doing the whole uh twerking thing and stuff like that, and like Shayna like freaking put her in a Kimura lock and like turned on her.
no, I think what it was is they lost that tag team match. Shayna was pissed at her. Lola did the whole spinning back fist, and then Shayna got up and tried to choke her out. And then Lola got out of there and ran away. So I don't know. And they were both kind of heels, so I don't. It's a weird. It is a very weird situation where it's like, okay, who is a baby face now and who's a heel? And then I guess Lola became a baby face after that, and she did like a speech talking to Roxanne and was like, "I'm doing this for my mother," and she started crying, like fake crying, and trying to do that baby face speech where this is
Mm.
my dream. I'm doing this for my family. I'm doing this for my mother. But like, you could tell she was acting, and I was like, "Ooh, I don't know if you're good at being a baby face, Lola, because this is pretty." Look up that promo after this, man. It's pretty cringe. It's that she tried, but you could tell she was acting.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into it because I can't remember with her that much. I just like I said, she was just never really. Eh,
I see a lot of potential in her. I think
she
she's got a
has
bright future.
she has potential. Don't get me wrong, but like she's just not my cup of tea right now.
Yeah, like I said, she's very green, very new. You could tell she's new. So
Yeah,
we'll definitely have to see what's the future holds for her.
and I think it's just like you said, the baby face thing. It's just certain people can be baby faces, certain people can be heels. Certain people shouldn't try to do the other.
I thought she was a great heel. I mean, she wasn't like a standout heel, like where I thought you put her against anybody else as a heel, she'll stand out. But she did a really good job as a heel. But as a babyface, I don't know if I'd go down this route because it's her acting, man. She's trying to get sympathy, but it's like I can tell you're acting. But okay, yeah, we'll see what happens with her. But yeah, I thought it was a solid match. Slow paced. I dug that. Made it a little different. Overall,
Agreed.
didn't hate it.
I didn't hate it, but it was just kind of like there for me, I guess.
Yeah, it's understandable, man. I definitely understand it.
I would probably, I still give it a 4.
Solid wrestling match. Then
Mhm.
we finally get to the end of the pay per view already. It's a pretty fast show. It went by really fast.
And it was
NXT Fatal 4-Way match. Ethan Page, Trick Williams, Sean Spears, and Javon Evans.
Evans. You have a new fan.
Oh, dude, I told you, man, he's freaking great. He's definitely future talent.
I knew he was
Definitely.
good, but like I didn't know he was that good.
This Fatal 4-Way match is up there with the NXT North American Championship match and the Women's North American Championship match. These
Hmm.
three matches were all on point. I loved this Fatal 4-Way match. I thought it was fantastic.
Hmm.
I loved how it ended too. It had a really
Different
smart,
ending.
sort of clever ending. Yeah, and it definitely makes Ethan Page get a lot of heat, which is doing the job.
What it's supposed to do?
Was that?
He's supposed to get the heat because he's
Mm-hmm.
there.
Yeah, yeah. I thought it was great. Sean Spears was great. Javon Evans was great. Ethan Page was awesome, and Trick Williams was awesome. I even like how Javon Evans got a lot of offense on Trick, and then Trick came back and said, this is gonna be your championship, huh?" And then just knocks him down. Like, no, man, I'm still champion.
Oh yeah, that was good. I like that. And I liked a lot with that match. That match to me, it was well booked and just well
Exactly.
delivered. It was well delivered. Definitely another 5-star match in my opinion.
Yeah, this one I might give a 5 because I think this one was the best booked match of the night. It was just it was on point, man. There was no botches. It didn't fall apart. It didn't get too slow, but it didn't feel like it got too fast with its pacing either. It was a really, really good fatal 4-way match, and they were able to do something that's very difficult, which is in a fatal 4-way match. Sometimes you lose focus of all four guys. You only focus on two guys. So it's like
Right.
cool they were able to keep that match organized. The ending I thought was great. I thought it was easily one of the better Fatal 4-Way matches I've seen in a while. It's definitely up there. Probably would give it a 5. I love the build. I love the story. I love how every single person in this match has like a little rivalry with somebody else and how it all connects. It was booked very well. I enjoyed the storyline. The match was phenomenal wrestling wise. And yeah, I'm so glad that Sean Spears is in NXT because he's at its best right now, man. I love his character.
You do look like a doofus though. Bro said, I'm gonna pull you out of the ring. Wait a minute.
That
Dummy.
means I don't win either.
I don't know if it was just because like maybe him and Ethan Page had like an agreement. I don't remember if they did or not.
I don't know. Maybe.
Because like
Um,
why else would he like take him out and just go, yeah,
what I would do with it, which I don't know if they're doing this or not. I haven't watched the episodes after the show yet, but what I would do is set up a robbery with Trick Williams with Sean Spears.
mm-hmm,
Like Sean Spears is trying to keep Trick Williams away from that title.
right.
Gives him a little something to do before he goes back for the title. Do you think Trick's gonna win that title back?
I don't know. I think he might be calling up to the main roster soon.
Maybe. I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. He's a star, man. He's got it. I think sadly, for as mean as this sounds, I think he's gonna be doing better than Carmelo.
I think Carmelo just needs to calm it down.
He needs to go in front of the mirror and cut more promos, man. You put Trick on Raw, it's over. I'm sorry if there's Trick on Raw and Carmelo on SmackDown. I want to compare their growth. Imagine Trick wins the IC title. All that Carmelo does for the rest of the year is loses. Like, oh my god.
Poor Carmelo.
Melo missed. He missed big.
He don't miss. He never misses.
But yeah, I mean, there's really with this pay per view. I think with a pay per view that's this straightforward and this on point, um, there's not really a lot to jump into. There's not a whole lot, like I said, of deep angles and storylines here. It's just a very straightforward, very entertaining, fast paced, hard hitting, really well done, well told story with what they do have there with storylines. I
Yep,
think it's just a really solid show, man. It's a
it
really,
was.
really good show.
Good matches, like you said. Everything was good. Like, even the matches I didn't care about, I still was like, you guys killed it.
So, if there was any criticisms you have with the show, do you have any like idea of what you would fix about the show?
Turn Roxanne back to face.
Roxanne.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, yeah. She used to be a baby face.
Turn her face and turn Loa back to a heel, and that's like my only criticism. I would say everything else was good.
So Roxanne, I wasn't really around when she was a baby face. She was a lot better as a baby face.
She was a lot better. She cut a lot better promos, and like she was just the reason why I just don't like her as a heel is because she's too much like Cora Jade.
Ooh, that's a good point.
That's the reason why I don't like it. It's like she feels like a wish version of Cora Jade, and I don't mean that like as a disrespectful way. Like, it's just a lot of people just don't like it. Like, she was just good as a baby face because like it's always like the yin and yang type thing. Cora was the heel, she was the face. It's like the same thing with like anyone else.
But was Cora Jade a baby face when she first got there?
She kind of was, but then her and Roxanne won the tag team titles, the NXT Women Tag Team titles,
Mm-hmm.
and then she turned on Cora, and then they had a rivalry.
Oh, so they were. That's probably why they're very similar. They are very, very similar.
Hmm.
Sometimes I mix them up. I'm like, oh yeah, that wasn't Roxanne. That was Cora Jade that did that.
Yeah, because they were a tag team and they won the tag team titles, and then they lost. And I think Cora turned on Roxanne, and then Cora won the NXT Championship, and then Roxanne came back. They feuded. Roxanne beat her, and then Cora Jade came back, but then got injured again, and then has been out ever since.
Yeah, she's still out. I still don't hear anything from her.
ACL tear. That's why.
I wanted to get your thoughts real quick before we end this show, because tomorrow I'm gonna be uploading a review that we're gonna record tonight for WrestleMania, which is we're a little bit late for that, just a little bit.
A little bit. It's almost SummerSlam.
Dude, I looked last year at last year's live stream setups. We had a scheduled stream for 39's WrestleMania. We never even did it.
I remember that. I remember that.
I was like, man, are we ever gonna talk? Oh yeah, that's right. That was like 7 months ago. I don't know, man.
What happened? We're late. We're weird.
Hey man, life gets busy sometimes, man. Life gets busy. But
Work.
I did want to ask you about something that might be a little controversial because I know she has a lot of fans. But
Lord.
do you think it was necessary to turn? I'm trying to remember because I always forget her name, but I know she's very, very popular, like on NXT 2.0 and stuff. She became very, very popular. The girl that sleeps all the time.
I was here. Yeah, I was going to say. Hold
I
on. Let
always
me.
forget her name. Wendy Chu, I think, is her name.
Yeah, it's Winnie Chu.
What do you think about her new gimmick, man? She's all evil, demonic, looking creepy. Do you think it matches her? Do you think there's too many creepy gimmicks right now in WWE?
I mean, I feel like if the Wyatt Six never came, I feel like it would have been fine. But since the Wyatt Six showed up, it's kind of like, Eh,
Yeah.
eh.
Yeah, I agree. I felt the
Like
same way. I was like, you're a little too late. A little too
I,
late,
f-
Wendy Chute.
I, I feel like it could have been good, and it's still. I think it's okay. It's not like amazing or terrible. I think it's okay because like I like the concept. Like, oh, she fell asleep and now she's awake and now she's ticked off and she's a evil person.
hmm
It's like imagine if you were sleeping and someone woke you up, you'd be a little bit angry.
Yeah, true.
I don't know about demonic, but a little bit angry.
Just like it just seemed a bit random for me because I was like, well, where did this come from? Because
Yeah,
all those promos were just like, oh, she's coming back. I'm like, cool. Then she shows up with weird Joker looking makeup on. I'm like, where did that come from? Like, what? Because I thought she was a very natural baby face. Like, I thought as a baby face, she was great. Like, really dug her as a face. As a heel, she's okay so far, but I'm just kind of wondering, like, did you really need to go heel, and did you need to go to a horror character? I don't know. We'll see. I just wanted to get your thoughts on it because I'm like, maybe he likes it more than me. I think it's okay. I think it's not anything terrible, but
it's not terrible, but it's like not amazing either.
it's a bit random, just a little
Yeah.
bit random for me. But I wanted to get your thoughts on that. But is there anything that you want to say? Closing statements, thoughts on NXT right now? Do you think it's gonna continue to get better? Do you think H can take notes from Sean and take things from NXT to help with his show, or do you think NXT needs to be its own thing and WWE needs to be its own thing? Like they shouldn't take notes from each other.
I feel like NXT's fine. I feel like they're both fine. I feel like H could take a little bit from Sean. Like, hey, let's not do a let's not do this. Let's do this. Let's like take different ideas.
Mm-hmm. Let's not do a year rivalry between Drew McIntyre and CM Punk, please.
Yeah, but I
All,
think
all the Punk
NXT,
fans are like, you know what you're talking about, man. It's genius, man.
I if they my issue, and I've said it a lot, and I'll say it on this. If they weren't injured, I would have been fine with it. But since they were injured and it just went out of nowhere, I was just like, why?
Yeah, yeah. Most of their rivalry was just them talking to each other. They couldn't do anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like one moment where Drew finally attacked Punk and just dumped him out on the stage. Hey,
Oh,
that was cool.
that killed him. I loved it.
But then CM Punk screwed him over again.
Yep.
They should have done the gimmick where Drew gets married and CM Punk arrives at his wedding and ruins it and just attacks him at his wedding.
No, he's getting ready to get married, and then he's gonna kiss the bride in this Punk.
That's genius.
Like
Punk's in the dress.
he may kiss the bride, who lifts the thing up. Wait a minute, CM Punk.
They just start fighting and throwing each other through the kid. Bro, I would have done that type of shit. If they can't wrestle right now, do it where they're fighting in malls and fighting out in parking lots. I'd have them fighting at the weddings and stuff. Like,
I want to
make
see
it so crazy.
I want to see someone get put through a cake.
Yes, that would have been awesome. And like CM Punk is just chilling at his house, and then Drew just shows up and starts fighting him, and you can make it like kind of a comedic thing where like
Hey,
the dog
he's there.
barks at him and bites him.
AJ Lee's there. Finally get at AJ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Larry bites Drew on the leg. Get your dog off me, man.
Get this mud off me, mate.
They start fighting out in Chicago and stuff. Bro, I'd love if they would have done that stuff. Would have loved it.
That would have been funny.
Yeah. But yeah, to close off this show, out of 10, I'd give it a 9 out of 10. Very great pay-per-view PLE from NXT. I know you can't call them pay-per-views anymore. But great show, wonderful show. Thought it was a great step up from Money in the Bank. And yeah, I mean, it's solid, man. Really, really solid.
Agree.
But
Agree.
anyways, guys, Colton, what's your closing thoughts on this? Your rating and everything.
9.5. Everything was good. Everything. The story's perfect. Ending's perfect. Everything. Everything. I'm turning heel. It was mid. It was a 5.
It was awful.
It was terrible. No, it was a 9. It
Vince
was a
should have
solid.
booked it.
Oh God, no.
Bring Vince back, damn it.
No, let's not do that.
Braun Breaker's gonna win everything.
Please, no.
We're gonna have him win the IC championship. Then he's gonna go down to NXT and become NXT champion.
And then he's gonna get the US title, and then the world title, and then the undisputed title, and then he's gonna win King of the Ring, and then the women's championship. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Think of the business. It's good shit. But anyways, guys, that's our review on NXT Heatwave. And thanks so much for watching. Take care. We're going to be recording a review on WrestleMania tonight, WrestleMania 40. And that'll be up tomorrow, so keep an eye out for that. But anyways, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good night. Take care. Colton, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Not a problem at all, man. It was a pleasure having you on the show. Anyways, guys, see you guys later. The Explorer of Horror is out. Peace.